Hello everybody, my name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and I am here to review Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. This is a 2004 film that is obviously based on the book with the same name written by J.K. Rowling, but it is now directed by Alfonso Cuarón. That name rings a bell with me very clearly because Alfonso Cuarón, some people might remember, directed Birdman just last year, which is one of my favorite movies from last year. So seeing that some 10 years beforehand he directed a Harry Potter movie is very interesting. Now the plot is you see that this prisoner of Azkaban has escaped. Cyrus Black, played by Gary Oldman, and his mission is to kill Harry Potter because he was very much involved with the death of Harry Potter's parents. Now, what I thought of this movie was I liked it. I liked it a lot, actually. Not that I'm surprised. At this point, it's fairly obvious that I'm gonna keep enjoying these movies. It seems like more and more with each and every one, especially because now they're practically teenagers at this point. They're growing, which is what happens, but they're getting older. So you see that it's getting slightly darker. I mean, you still have your kid moments in there, like for example, Malfoy being messed with, which is something that I can never get sick of. Whenever he gets punked out like a little bitch, I laugh very hard because he deserves it, especially the scene where Hermione punches him in the face. Thank you, Hermione. But let's talk about the very beginning where Harry Potter finally leaves his family. I'm talking about his aunt and his uncle because they're so annoying. They're annoying. They're over the top. They're just mean old people who treat him like absolute crap. I don't blame Harry Potter for casting that spell on that woman to make her a big huge balloon and her flying into the air. I don't blame him for leaving either. I thought it was interesting that, what do they call it? The night ride for wizards. When he's out there on the street and he's kind of on his own, doesn't really have anywhere to go, this bus just shows up. And it's like, this is very cool. This is why I liked it, because you get a sense of what this world really is like, what it is to be in this world, that if you're a wizard and you're down and out, you got some bad luck, you don't have any place to go, just automatically this bus will come and take you to where you need to go. That was awesome. I mean, a little silly, the ride there, of course, but still, I like that. Ron Weasley still is one of my favorite characters in this series. I love this actor. I love the goofy faces that he makes. He's very comical. His delivery, the way he just says some of the stuff he says. Especially this running ongoing joke where whenever Hermione just shows up in class without them realizing it and she starts answering the teacher's questions because she's that smart, Ron always looks to Harry and goes, "Did you see her get here? When did she get here?" Which is just something that I thought was funny until it actually pays off. Yes, there's a plot point that works its way into how Hermione just does that, and it wasn't something I was expecting. In fact, it provides my favorite sequence out of these first three movies so far. I very much enjoyed what happened there. The Dementors, I want to talk about them. There's these creatures who are, I don't know exactly what they are, if they're demons, if they're ghosts, if they're just spiritual creatures that are very much after Harry Potter, and just with anybody that they come into contact with, they will like suck your soul out. They call it the Dementors Kiss, and that's very creepy, very disturbing. You know, I say these are more kid-friendly, but then when you have scenes like that, you almost wonder, like, what would that do to a kid watching this? How would that not freak them the fuck out? But then again, when I was a kid, I saw some pretty messed up movies and some messed up stuff that probably scarred me for life. And I think I'm doing just fine. Dumbledore. He's a character that's been a pretty important character, I'd say, for the first three movies. Well, in this film, he's no longer played by Richard Harris because Richard Harris died in between 2 and 3. So he's now played by Michael been, and I don't want to speak ill of the dead or anything like that. I'm sure Richard Harris is a great actor, but I didn't really get much out of Dumbledore in the first two movies. He was kind of just there. He was a little, I don't want to say generic, but just really nothing behind the character. He was just kind of there. This new actor, I like the way he plays him. He's a little bit more animated, a little bit more likable, and he seems like he's more into it. Funny story is that when they were thinking about trying to replace him for Dumbledore, apparently the rumor is that they asked Ian McKellen, which, can you imagine? Ian McKellen has played some of the biggest characters in a bunch of franchises. So if he did take this role, that would have been just another cue. But apparently he didn't take it because it's too much like the Gandalf character from Lord of the Rings. It is, I mean, they look a lot alike, but still, I kind of would have liked to have seen what that would have been like. And last but not least, let's talk about Gary Oldman as Cyrus Black. Now, I was very much looking forward to watching this third movie because I knew about Gary Oldman being the villain in this movie. And I also like the fact that we don't deal with Voldemort at all. I mean, he's a non-threat, a non-issue. So just something different. And I was looking forward to it. They were building him up. They just kept talking about how evil he was, how he was a serial killer, and how he was coming with a vengeance for Harry Potter. Whenever you saw a newspaper, it was just Gary Oldman screaming like a madman. I'm like, I can't wait to see this guy. And then when you see him, he's not that. And I love Gary Oldman as an actor, so it wasn't like anything was wrong there. He was still very good in the movie. It just wasn't what I was expecting to get. And so if I were to say I wasn't disappointed by it, I would be lying. Because maybe there is a part of me that was disappointed. But I also found it interesting. I found it interesting that with this whole series in general, besides Voldemort, who is like pure evil, everybody else, at least, it seems like they're establishing that there's a lot more than just good and evil. There are people who are misunderstood, who might have many layers to them. The introduction of werewolves in this series, and one of the teachers definitely proves that. I like the message behind it. I did like where it ended up, but I would have liked to have seen this psychopath serial killer Gary Oldman character at some point. Oh well. I still very much enjoyed this film. The one sequence that I mentioned earlier that was just one of my favorite, that just really won me over with this movie especially. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of the third Harry Potter movie? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later.